Hi, my name is Maria Cristina Tijerina, and today I'm going to be talking about my research paper. My research paper is problem solving in the real world, and what that consists of is basically the problem solving skills that we learn while in our younger years, such as like elementary, middle school, high school, and even in college, how that really does get applied to our real world experiences, just like our everyday life experiences, or more importantly, our work life experiences. So we go through a series of stages that our teachers actually go through as we're progressing in school, and they really kind of shape as to what these skills truly mean to us. Keep in mind, these skills are not just used in math classes. We use these skills also in our science classes, our English classes, our history classes. They get used everywhere possible. So the stages that we normally go through, there's normally 6 of them, and they are called the non-analytical stage. Is when, if we're speaking in math terms, it means these numbers don't make any sense to us. And that's normally what we go through in our elementary years, where we don't know why 2 plus 2 equals 4. We don't get that concept. Later on, as we progress, we go into the number writing stage where, hey, we start to realize, and it's a little bit, towards the end of elementary or so, where we just say, hey, these numbers truly do mean something. They're starting to make a little bit more sense. Once we kind of sort of get into our middle school age, that is when we go into the early analytical stage, and that is basically where we start associating our numbers with symbols. And so that's the middle school age around there. So we start saying, like, why does X value mean something in a certain formula? Our next step we normally go through is the simple analytical stage, and that is how, hey, this formula does make sense as to why we have to use it. It starts to be interpreted a lot more. It's practiced a lot more. It's seen in all other classes as well. And the last stage we go through is the complex analytical stage. That's when we use a series of formulas, and they all will get us to the same solution, but it's just different ways of doing it. And that is something we kind of also learn in our everyday experiences, whether it be in life or in work. I am a customer service representative, and I notice that I do go through these stages, and it happens whenever you start a job. You go through the non-analytical stage when you're like, I don't know what anything means. And then more and more as you go into your training, you start, oh, hey, this means this. It means it's important. We have to keep that in mind. And then we do start going through our little stages of, the early, the simple, and the complex of like, hey, okay, this receipt means something in my sense of being in the customer service world. The simple analytical stage is mostly seen when, if we're going to be talking in my world of customer service, that's mostly seen when you have like orders that aren't being completed correctly and whatnot. That's when we start using certain skill sets that are there for our job to help it make it a lot more easier for our customers. In our complex analytical stage is when we have to start dealing with credit card companies, when we have to start dealing with a lot of third-party people as well. This is mostly seen also in the corporate world, because at the same time in the corporate world, you are not only just doing one task, you are doing many tasks. You start to learn that the more and more you go through schooling as well. You start to learn like, hey, you have to do multiple things to make sure your solution is okay. You have to multitask and make sure everything is working properly to make sure everything's going to come out fine. I compared and contrast everything in regards of, hey, what are we learning? How does that really affect us in the real world? And it actually truly affects us everywhere. It can be from something you're doing in your house, the problem solving you have to do there, to obviously the real world. that's mostly what my paper does talk about. It goes a little bit into certain quotes from certain papers that I have seen, and a lot of them are very, very reasonable, very understanding in the sense of like, hey, all the stuff we happen to learn, it means something. It will mean something not only in school, but it'll mean something to your employer. It will mean, hey, you can take an initiative as per doing some type of task. You can go ahead and complete certain tasks because you know the level you have to be working in, basically. So all of that takes time to learn. That's one thing I did um, grasp from the papers. It takes a long time to learn that. It's something I also have learned in my actual job. It takes a while to master something in the customer service field, for example. So when I started out, it was very, I don't know what this means. I don't know how to process a return properly. As the year started going, I started getting a little bit better to the point where managers had to start depending on me to make sure I was doing everything okay, but fixing their problems that maybe they created. So that all came with time as well. So does the problem solving behind it. That all comes with time, seeing how we learn it at such a young age, from elementary to middle school to high school and then to university, and how it gets applied a lot more than it does in high school. So that's one thing I did take away from learning this, is that problem solving is always going to be around us. There's no way of running from it, and it's just something we have to do. It's an initiative we have to take, whether we are just being lazy at home or we are in our actual job. It's something we do have to do, and it's something that becomes very valuable, and your employer will see how important, how much of a necessity it is to have those skills. So thank you for your time, and this class was very fun and I enjoyed it. Thank you.